And look, more warnings today about the attack on free speech inherent in the government's misinformation and disinformation legislation that's now passed the House of Representatives and is before the Senate. Remember, this is the bill that proposes fines worth up to 5% of a big tech company's revenue should faceless bureaucrats conclude that big tech hasn't tried hard enough to remove posts that they judge to be inadvertently or deliberately misleading. Meaning that in order to mitigate any risk of fines, these Silicon Valley lefties, well, they'll just remove any content that might trigger the woke types that now run our governments, our big institutions, and of course, throughout mainstream media. These are the big tech companies that have already, as Mark Zuckerberg admitted, censored what turned out to be the truth regarding vaccines in the pandemic and have cancelled people with politically incorrect opinions, including the once and now future President of the United States. But as bad as all that was, this bill, if it passes the Senate, would make it much worse. It would put Big Brother in charge of the online world, which was once supposed to liberate communications and strengthen free speech. Today, the constitutional expert, Professor Anne Toomey, warned that the government's bill could, quote, all go very wrong. She said it would create worse problems by suppressing free speech and undermining democracy. She said that big tech so-called fact checkers were often, quote, young kids out of university with a tendency to distort advice from experts, even if inadvertently. Make no mistake, this is a really dangerous bill. The government is determined to ram through before the election with the support of the Teals and the Greens, doubtless to muzzle opinions it doesn't like, as has already happened to me, for instance, during the Voice debate. Now, we triumphed here at Sky News because I had the backing of my boss and our lawyers, and getting the information out there to voters was in part why the Voice was defeated resoundingly. But what happens if dissent is silenced? What happens if alternative views are not heard, if you don't get to hear all the facts? Any wonder so many activists originally wanted this legislation passed before last year's referendum. And the fact that they are so desperate to have it passed and in place for the election says it all.